What is going on, YouTube? We are back for another Witch's Weapon video. Now this one is a little different, but also similar to the last two. Now, when I first started out, I did not make videos because I was going into the game blind and I did not want to mismanage information. I didn't want to give any misinformation, mishandle information pertaining to the game. So I researched as best I could. Took a couple of days to get a feel for the game and the mechanics and how it works, and now about almost 3 weeks later, I can give a proper walkthrough of what you're going to be doing in the beginning of the game and actually give you visuals as to how that would look. Now, as far as the story goes, it's a pretty interesting story. It is, but for the sake of the video, we're just gonna hop into it. No real reason to go over the story. You can, if you want, you can replay the story. It doesn't stop you from replaying the story. But what I want to show off is essentially what you're gonna be wanting to do at this stage. This right here is the main character. You're like, oh cool, it's a guy. Wait, what? It's a guy. Why is it a guy? Well, that'll change. Here it's going to tell you like basic stuff. It doesn't actually want you to move the screen there. It just wants you to tap it, which is weird. Because some games they'll have it so you press the little indicator that they have there and then it does things. Now, this is basic combat here. This right here is basic combat. You see, Estina is actually pretty good. This is an AoE skill, which I don't know why they have you do that when they give you Estina's weapon that basically does AoE. It's really weird that they want to showcase that. This is basically combat. It's showing off Chio's ability there, where if you counter at the correct time, which for all intents and purposes we should be using her weapon. Weird. We want to use Estina here. Also want to dodge those best you can. Now that everybody's pretty much gone. I don't know why they yeah, Alice has a lock on ability. It's really weird the way they like set this up, because it doesn't really tell you how the abilities function. It just kind of says, hey, use this. All right, now use that. Like it's basically playing the game for you without any explanation as to what the abilities like perform. So as you saw, the third slot, the first active ability, that's what they're called. They don't even explain that, but the first active ability that you use there is Kiryu, and she has an AoE, which is pretty good. The way Chio's ability works is it's a counter for 1.4 seconds. And within that 1.4 seconds, any physical damage done to you, I'm sorry, any damage done to you is then returned to the opponent in physical damage with a 2400% multiplier. Pretty massive. And then Alice's active skill is a lock on to whatever enemy is nearest, and it will continue to tick until all of them are up. So it's pretty good as well. You don't start out with any of these weapons, by the way. None of these weapons you have access to. Chio's weapon, however, you do have access. You have the chance to get it, rather, in the upcoming piece here. Here is just taking you through the game. There's a huge explosion. You essentially don't really survive it without having your body augmented and transformed into a female for some reason. That part is kind of like, sure, it's a little weird, but if it works, it works. Now, her active skill will basically act as a turret for you, and it has some massive range. It actually has some really good range, and it's pretty spammable, which is quite nice. This is essentially like your main witch that you start out with, Annie. That's her name, as you see right there. And that's us, the guy that we were, but then swapped. And he just realizes, oh God, I'm a female now. What in the world is going on? Couldn't tell you, man. Now, it basically jumps you into the game. And at the time of me making this video, Thalassophobia is currently available. What they're going to have you do is jump straight into summons. You can just pick anywhere, and this is automated. They're just automatically going to give you Beatrice, who's fantastic, by the way. And here they'll give you another free one, which will be Vera. Pretty sure it's always Vera. Yep. It's always Vera Valkyrie, who's also pretty good. She has some really good CC, AoE at that. They won't let you summon again because it's not time yet. They'll want you to come over here, as most games do. Select your person that you just summoned, and then it's pretty much telling you, like, this is how it functions. You can't even read it all the way, though. It's kind of weird. And then they want you to back. Then they want you to go into the fight again to do another one. Now, it tells you to hold and tap and hold it, but if you don't hold it all the way, it'll just be like, okay, well, you must have read it, and then it won't let you know. But essentially, what that is alerting you to is what abilities the opponents will have, their efficiency and either magic attack or attack. Those are the two main sources of damage. And there's also a third, which is pure damage, which, you know, most games refer to it as true damage. So there's 3 types. Some of them, you see here, I swapped to Beatrice, and there's a reason for that. They will get silenced You saw they were charging up their skill. That's how you want to use, and they're going to explain it here, but we are already explaining it. Beatrice will go ahead and silence whoever, and she does additional damage to those enemies that are silenced when you activate her passive. But for right now, it's just a silence. So Beatrice will actually get better as you level up. So keep that in mind. She is not useless. Don't look at her like, oh, this, you know, generally in games, they'll have it to where the first units that you get are pretty useless. This game's actually in the opposite. And you'll see here with the next witch that we get is going to be your main source, and I do mean your main source of utility and healing for a good while. There, we just want to silence. It prohibits them from using any abilities, and you don't have to take the damage of the ability for it to proc. Just a heads up. Here you want to use Annie. As you can see, when she attacks, she takes some additional damage, and I believe it's on crits. Here you want to go the other way. Silence her. Wow. Okay. There you can also stun them. I mean, remove their ability to use a skill. Now, some are unavoidable, and Beatrice's silence won't work on them. This was not the case here. Vera can also do the same. There's different forms of CC. What you saw there was silence. Beatrice is one of the few that has access to that. I believe Liliana does as well. Another witch. Vera has stun CC, which is really nice. It's really nice to have. So here it's going to show you the way that you increase your witch level. They're going to make you use it on Vera. Vera is one of the units that has a unique source of damage where it is based off of HP, true damage. It'll always do like 6% with her passive. So in short, it's going to be quite good in a lot of situations. Any game that has percentage damage with attacks, generally speaking, it is quite good. Here we don't want to use Beatrice. These units right here, they won't ever have skills. They just attack normally. So you just want to dispatch them as quickly as possible. Make sure as well, as you can see, my witch weapon is low, the meter is down, and now it's completely depleted. When that happens, you will not do the same amount of damage that you originally were. Here we're going to switch to Beatrice to get the silence. It only stops them from using their skills. As you can see here, that range on Annie's active skill is ridiculously high. Here we can just go ahead and smack her, and we can almost silence her as well. This is one of the enemies where she has pretty high defenses, so you're gonna want to use Vera's weapon on her. Get rid of her pretty quick. And here you see we've completed every single one Now here you get the unlimited reroll ticket, and you don't actually have to use it if you don't want to right away. So it's actually not a big deal. And here you'll see it throws you right into the available summons. Now, when you start out, because this is important, when you start out, you will automatically have Ray's banner available to you. It's only up for about 5 days, so you're gonna want to do as much as you possibly can if you wish to acquire her. She's quite good. She is one of the upper tier weapons that you'll have access to. Now, at the time of me making this video, Thalassophobia, the event is up, and Beth is up. Now, she is quite ridiculous. She is pretty much future proof for a while. She's really good. So I would recommend that you summon for her at this present time. But if there are no banners up that are worthy of mentioning, then you should definitely go for Ray. See, the first day you'll have access to these goodies, and you get, within the 4th day, you'll have enough to do a multi. Multis don't really matter. There's no guarantee for anything here, really. So you're gonna want to do the tutorial missions that they show you here. It's telling you about the rank up. Now, this right here, the sphere rank ups, is how you'll be able to not only gain access to higher stats. This is your main way of increasing your battle prowess, but it'll also give you access to the passives that these witches have. And Beatrice has one of the better passives in the game, and it works quite well with her weapon, Heaven's Gate, where it'll do additional damage to silence targets. The same with her SSR variant. But her rare weapon is quite good. Just because it's a rare, it does not mean that it's bad. In this game, there's just about all sorts of viability in terms of your weapons. It's not really any weapon that you can't use in this game. Same with the witches. Some will prove to be far superior to others, for sure. And then in other cases, there are some that will have a very niche use. And with that, we'll try to be efficient as possible. Doesn't seem like we can be. So we'll just use another one of these. Enhance. The reason we want to do this is to complete the tutorial, and it's going to give you quite a bit of free stuff. Now, of the 3 that you currently have here, the ones to invest in, Beatrice, for sure, you can be confident in investing in. Vera as well, depending on what it is that you decide upon pulling, can also be a grand option for you. Here we're just going to augment these two. You can do it for Annie if you want. I wouldn't necessarily advise against it. She has a very interesting use, but there's a specific team that you would want to use her on. She's not bad by any means. She's not one that you would not invest in. It's just there's generally better options. Generally speaking, there are better options, but she's pretty good. Her rare weapon is pretty good. Now, at the time of me making this video, there's a far superior version of Annie, and it just so happens to be in this banner right here with Beth. So in the time that I'm making this video, if you are able to acquire her, please do so. And as you can see here, this is where you'll be able to, for all new players, you'll be able to gain access to a free SSR. How kind of this game to just, whenever you start, you will always have access to Ray's banner as well as Beatrice. And so what I recommend for players to do is not pull her in your unlimited reroll turret, because in the beginning you're just going to want to have as many witches as possible for as much variety as possible. Later on, the dupes will, become prevalent in, certain content, but that's not until you're much higher level and much further into the game. But for most cases, you'll want to get your unit maxed out as best as you possibly can. Now, the reason I advise against picking Beatrice in the unlimited turret, there'll be 4 SSRs that you'll have access to. Beatrice is one of them. Aluka is another one. Chio is the 3rd, and Monica's shield is the 4th. Now, Monica, I highly recommend that you go for. She simply is, she's pretty much a staple for any team. She fits in any team. She just has amazing utility. She has amazing CC, and she has massive damage reduction at 60%. And when you awaken this, which is another feature that you won't see until you're about level 40, it won't become something that you need to, focus on until level 40. But a few levels before that, you'll have access to a mode that allows you to farm these. Provided that you already have the witch, you can farm their cores right here. Now, if you don't, and you play this mode enough, and you're able to get enough of these, then you can simply just get the witch. So it's pretty grindy in that sense, but I would say that it's pretty worth it, all things considered. But again, you won't be worrying about that until you're in the upper 30s to early 40s in level, and that will take quite a while, as you'll see. Now, the one the two that I would recommend for people to pick is Aluka. Seems to be the most popular, and this is the weapon that you will get. Narukami. It's quite good. The normal attacks, as you saw Annie, her weapon that you start off with, this one does the same. except it's magic damage, and it has much higher multipliers. As you can see, there's a difference. It's not that much of a difference, but it's quite the jump once you start leveling up your units. Now, of the three, because Beatrice you shouldn't even worry about, you're going to get her for free. Of the three, Chio is the furthest down. And it's not because she's not good. She's definitely good. She's fantastic. She's absolutely amazing. The later this game goes, the better Chio gets. And you're going to want to, again, get stars up in her as well. Now, her banner is gone. You don't have access to her unless they bring her back at some point in time. But she's in the general SSR pool, and if you pull enough through your tarot cards, you'll eventually be able to grab whichever one you don't have. Like, it's a fantastic pity system. Another thing to mention, only summon, if you're ever going to summon, only ever summon on the banners that have pity systems, like these two. Don't ever summon on the Sathoth Prey. Don't ever summon on it. There's no pity system. You don't get this counter up. I'm gonna show it off here. Now, the way this works is, depending on how many of these pity system tokens you have, you'll be able to get access to a random weapon of your choice, or to, you know, y'all have to spend double the tokens, but you'll be guaranteed to get a SSR weapon that you don't have. Now, this excludes limited summon pool. Ray is not limited, so I'm advising people against summoning for her. At the time of this video, I would highly recommend that you summon for Beth, because she is limited time. You will not see her until they bring her back, whenever that time is. There's no way of telling, so of all the ones to pick, you should definitely invest in her. Just summon as much as you can on the banner. Get as many dupes for her as you can. She becomes absolutely insane. The more dupes you have in her, the more amazing that she gets. So be sure to do that. Now, from here, you can continue without summoning. You'll eventually get the healer Rafi. It'll just take a bit. You'll also gain access to Kiryu, whom you saw in the tutorial there. And here it's letting you know that you can swap weapons if you have access to another weapon. That's how you swap them. Right now, we don't need to worry about that because we don't have any to swap, but that's where you would do so. Here, the suit, it simply just gives you a increase in your stats, and this is pretty much you having to pay. It's not really something that it's not really something that you need to worry about unless you plan on investing money into the game. That's essentially how you gain access to that. As it stands right now, you don't get enough of those outfit tokens to get one of the different outfits, so I wouldn't worry about it. And here, it's just going to go through this again because we X out of the menu. But here, we're just going to go back and we're going to dive right in. You can hold that ticket. That ticket does not disappear, so you need not worry about it. You can hold that ticket for as long as you so choose. Here it's just showing off an AoE with Holly, and Holly's pretty easy to acquire. She is a rare. You should be able to get access to it at some point. Now, as you saw with Holly, that's not something, and I did that purposely to show you. Her weapon is, I mean, her active skill is not one that you can just blast. As you see, I used Vera. See here with Vera, you have to aim it. So make sure you're wary of that. Some you can just do whatever with. And here they'll just give you Holly for free. And Holly's pretty good. Holly's really good on a physical team. Try to get her with a physical team and that favors crit. And she will always excel. So here we're just going to pop Holly on. We actually want to swap the line up just a bit. Have it set up that way. Holly is quite good. I just want to show off in the game that you don't have to summon right away. It'll actually be a while before you actually need to start summoning, and by then you'll have quite a few. See here, you will want to use Holly because of the massive AoE. It has quite a nice range. It is quite nice of them to give you something like this. Now here for these, as always, you want to swap out, and when they use that, you get additional damage. Because of the way that Heaven's Gate works, the functionality of the weapon itself, you gain additional damage, but you will gain even more damage once you have access to her passive. Now here they're spread out, so you're gonna want to swap. You don't want to keep using Holly. As you saw, her MP is quite low, so we want to swap from this. Now here, this is pretty much the last one. We're gonna laser beam her here with that, and we can silence her, and she's the last one, so we can just unload everything on her. Now, as you see, Holly's active skill is one that you would want to follow up with after you've used Vera's, just to maximize the amount of damage that you can do with it. And here, they are now giving you access to Raphaelia. Now, Raphaelia is another one of the units that you're going to absolutely want to invest in. The reason being is because she is pretty much the best healer that you'll have access to. One of the best healers that you'll have access to for a long time. That's just the way that it is. There's not a whole lot that can be done about it. And she has quite nice utility. Like very, very nice utility. What I mean by that is she can lower the enemy's defense, single target, but also increase your defense while you have her active. Now, the defense buff goes away the second you swap, but the defense drop does not. So here we're going to smack her and laser beam. Really nice combo. You just have to make sure that you aim it properly. And when you do, you'll get quite a bit of damage in, as you see there. Here we're going to use our AoE just to finish them off. Last one here. Now we're going to heal up. Just spam everything. We hold on to Rothies just to take as as less as we can, and we finished with 97 health. We didn't even have to pop her active skill again, her heal. Another tutorial quest will be unlocked. And here it is asking us to unlock the Rafi that we just got for free. And that's essentially what I was talking about in the mode that will allow you to farm these materials, which it's called the EME aggregator. Let's see. Yeah, the one right here where it's in the top right where it's locked. That's the one. So make sure you're wary of that. And through achievements, you're gonna get quite a few tarot cards through doing these dailies. You'll end up with access to Kiryu. You also get access to Raphilia skin, which is quite nice. And this will be the final chapter. So here we'll throw on Raphilia for the heal. Now, Holly you can invest in if you would like to. She'll do more damage. Here, you just want to use that to clear small mobs. You want to swap back. You can use Raphilia's weapons to stall a bit to minimize the amount of damage that you take. It's substantial. Here we can use the AoE since they're bunched up like this. You just want to be mindful of when they separate like this because it will happen. Here again, we just want to use the AoE. We just wait a bit. Use that. Unfortunately, we walked up a bit too much. Here we're going to silence her so we can do additional damage. Just keep attacking. And when you kill the boss in normal chapters, generally that will end the fight. And that's the end of chapter 1. See, we leveled up. Now we have 2 more to go. And here it will talk to you about the unit that you will soon have access to, which is Kiryu. Kiryu is quite good. She is very nice to have on the team. She does so much. She'll be your main DPS, and she'll do a very good job of it, as you'll see here. Dispatched of them quite quickly. Here it's going to tell you about how they function, but it won't actually. Oops. Alright, I don't have Holly. That's fine. Here You can use the AoE, just get rid of her. And that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Kiryu does the most damage that you'll see for a while. So investing in her is also a way to go. It certainly is not the wrong way to go. Here I'm going to put on Annie. For early on, Annie has really good DPS in her active skill. And it just helps you clear it quicker. It helps you dispatch of your enemies. It's just a really good source of damage. And generally speaking, you can pretty much just run her over Holly. You can keep Beatrice, you can keep Vera. Those two are still good forms of CC. Here, I'm going to silence that before you get on to me. Now here, we're just waiting. Wait for that to fully charge. We're just going to walk away, get our AoE, and then we wait for her to get silenced. Because it will happen. Silence her again. And GG. Just walk away. Oh, she healed. That's unfortunate. But Annie's active skill lasts a very long time. It has quite a bit of CC on it. I'm sorry, not CC, DPS. This is really good. Really good to have. Now you'll have access to Chapter 2. And it's talking to you about how to maneuver through the menu. And here, it's the same as the command center. It's just a different way to access it if you want. That's if you want. It's not really necessary. Here, you'll just continue to grab more of these turrets. And by now, you have just about enough to do a multi. You don't necessarily have to wait. But by the time you finish the first chapter, you'll then have enough for a multi-summon. Now, if you want, I wouldn't recommend this, but if you want to, and you can, you certainly can, you can continue to do summons until you actually grab something that you like. Claudia is another good source of passive healing, and she also gives you crit chance. Now, Aluka's Thunder Pulses here are really good. It gives you 100% chance to dodge when it is fully leveled. Fully stacked, rather. So it's quite nice. You go into the shop here at this moment in time. There is a discount on prayer packs. So if you were to individually get a tarot card every single time, you'll end up spending about 26 more gems. I mean, 10% off. You can do the math. It's 26. So from here, at this moment in time, I would say to hold on to your gems until you're able to get 10 of them. Now, from here, as you saw, I just collected some AP. The time frame for it is 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the second one is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those are the two windows in which you're able to acquire free AP. And I would highly recommend that you get that, as it will further help you in being able to get through the game. If you can avoid having to use your gems to buy stamina, I would recommend that you do. Now we got some new additions here in that summon, and they have some interesting mechanics. Now this one here, is pretty good. It's another good source of damage. I've not tried her out that much, so she's better the more damage that you have in a physical team, so I would recommend that. Barbarossa is interesting, though I would not recommend. Aluka is quite nice. Her ability to give you 100% dodge chance is just really nice. And again, she's a phenomenal option. Now, I would say if you're going to use your SSR role to get Luca, you should probably couple her with as much magic damage as you can. Is it necessary? Yes and no. But Gwen is interesting. I'm sure she scales the more you invest, so she makes you pretty tanky, which is actually quite nice. Now, as far as investing in her, she has some decent mechanics. So let's say you did not choose Monica. You could use Gwyneth. You could use Gwyneth. She's an interesting choice. She is an interesting choice. So she's able to block incoming damage. So if there's something that will deal massive damage to you, you hold on to her active and it'll block 3 hits. Whatever those 3 hits are, it'll just block it. And when this is no longer available to you, you'll restore HP based on the remaining charges that you have. Now, I wouldn't say that that's a reliable source of healing, so don't look towards it as that. But it is a nice option. It is quite a nice option. Now, out of the summons that you get in, they will be different. You may get luckier than I did in terms of pulls. You might just pull Beth outright. But a good team would consist of Raphelia, if you want to max out DPS, you could go Raphelia, Aluka, Annie, and Anzu. Or Aluka, Claudia, Rafi, Annie. Because Annie does benefit from crits. She does. She benefits. It actually helps her quite a bit. It's quite nice. And they're basically all physical as well. So it's another decent option for you, if you so choose. Now, the architect is quite nice because with your active skill, it'll help your dog target the correct individual, and it's a pretty decent source of DPS. So you look out for that. From there, in the shop, as you can see, these are materials that will allow Raphelia to increase her stats. Same with Vera. Your gold will not. It really isn't something that you should be looking to spend your gold towards early on. You need as much gold as possible to increase the level of your witch's weapons. No pun intended. Same with these enhancements. You're gonna need these as well, but depending on, like, you want to reach level 10 as quickly as you can. I'll just say that. The reason for that is because it gives you a lot. It gives you a lot of resources, including gold, specifically today. It's either going to give you gold, or it'll give you witch experience material. So you want to make sure that you do those every day. And here is what I really want to show off, these challenges. Now, this essentially can be looked at as a way for you to, you know, gain free gems upon completion. So here, I'd say you want to start out with this here. Then you can swap out to whichever weapon you decide that you want to swap out to. And swap back, you want to make sure that you keep these stacks up as much as you can. Holly is going to be your main source of damage in this here. Now, we're just gonna restack this. Restack the charges. Use her. Increase the damage of it by using it in unison with Luca's ability. Same with Holly. Here, my stacks fall off, so I want to reapply them. Let's also heal here. And here, we just want to do that. Get rid of the summon. Smack her away. They're doing a lot of autos, as you can see, so using Rafi here is also not bad, but for the most part, you're going to be swapping between Luca, Akira for the buff and damage, and Holly. And you should have no relative issue. I'm sure you can even complete that with higher HP than I did. 60's not bad, but you know. Also, with the story, this is where you would interact and watch. If you like. What I'm going to do is hit OK. But I'm going to cancel it. Watch the story now. Skip it. Skip it. Watch the story now. See, when it says this, you can just cancel and you don't have to watch it anymore. Watch story now. Cancel it. That one has 20 gems, which is quite nice. And we almost have enough for another summon. Now, upon entering chapter 2 is where you're going to have access to hard mode. Now, hard mode will give you the materials for certain units to increase their star rating, which will give you an increase in your stats. So be on the lookout for that. Do take care in which ones that you do. Oh, nice. That's really good. We got materials for free. Take care in which ones that you do early on. You don't want to do every single one of these. You don't want to max out every single one of these. So let's say you wanted to invest in Annie. You can do that. You can go ahead and do all 3 of these, and every single day this will refresh. You cannot refresh it otherwise, unfortunately. You can't spend gems to refresh it. You see your Raphaelia Deckers as well. Your healer, you're going to want to invest in her. That's the main one that I would suggest. Followed by Beatrice as well. It's another one that you want to invest in. And Vera as well. Depending on what your choices were, your setup may change. So here, let's we don't necessarily need Raphaelia at this stage. We can actually change our team up a little bit and do pretty well. So here, I kept Annie on. Reason for that is I'm going to basically couple her with what I'm using right now, Aluka's Thunder Pulses, which is simply amazing. I'm going to be dodging attacks. And we can swap back to refresh. And you might be wondering if healers are so useful, why did you swap yours out in exchange for Aluka? Well, as long as you keep the stacks up on Aluka's ability and Thunder Pulses, you won't really have a need to use anything else. You see here, we're not taking too much damage simply because of the fact that we're able to essentially, we're just going to silence her to get rid of her. She's quite annoying. Same with her here. Just get rid of her. She can do some pretty nasty damage. Here we want to swap over. As you can see, Annie is quite good. Annie's quite good with her DPS. And as you see here, Thunder Pulse is really nice. lowers their attack speed. Here, we're just gonna unload because this is the last bit. And there's nothing left. Now, as you increase in the chapters, the health requirement will increase. So Rafi is pretty useful in that. Here is just letting us know, like, make sure you gather all of your materials, which we did already, so no real need to make note of that. Make sure you pay attention to requirements here to complete this. So here, since we don't really need Vera, we can go ahead and equip Rafi for the heals, and we really won't need much more than that. Small targets. What you're gonna want to do to maximize your usage of Thunder Pulses, whenever it is that you max the dodge out, you just want to swap like immediately, because as you can see, the meter on it burns quite quickly. The closer they are, the more get affected by it, which is really good. Here we'll heal. And we're gonna hit her with a silence, just get rid of her. There we go. Here, we're just gonna throw these out. It'll help us get rid of them quicker, which means we'll rotate through these guys quicker. Just silencer. Full frame 3 dodge chance. We'll just heal up here. And we'll finish them off. Here we just want to get out of the way. And there we go. Aluka is really good to invest in as well, which is another reason, yet another reason why, if that's who you decide to pick, it's not a bad option. Not at all. So that will about cover it. There's not too much else to cover. That's pretty much the rundown of the game and what you're going to be doing. And here is asking you to increase the star level. This is where they'll introduce you to upgrades, and they give you a free upgrade. And as you can see here, her stats went up quite a bit. So now she does even more. So again, if you want to invest in her, it's not the worst thing that you could do by any means. You can go ahead and invest in her. If you're going to be using her, you might as well invest in her. Same here with the Luca. We're just going to do that. Augment. Do that 2 times. Just to increase the damage that we do, which is quite nice. Same with Rafi. You're going to want to invest in her. And these materials, like these early on materials, are not really where you'll run into issues. So you needn't worry about that, really. I would say of all of these to invest in, of all the options to choose, it's really up to you what you would like to invest in. It's honestly a toss-up between Monica and Aluka. Aluka's really good to invest in simply because you'll have access to her materials a lot more often, simply because she's very easy to pull, and both of her rares, you'll see them quite often. So starring her up will not prove to be difficult whatsoever. And you really won't need to use that unlimited prayer for a while. So it's really just up to you. I would say to wait until you pull a bit, because you might end up grabbing something that will influence how you'll want to move forward with your account. So be on the lookout for that. Let's just there we go. Now, if you want to maximize your DPS, you could put on like Anzu or something, whatever you have. But Beatrice is simply there to disrupt enemies that will use skills that could do some damage to you, some serious damage to you. It's just insurance policy, so to speak. And it's a pretty good one at that, I would have to say. Here we want to swap back. Switch back in. We don't want to use hers just yet. Not just yet. We want to get closer up here. Now we can use both. Just to get some damage. Now keep in mind, this is hard mode, so if it seems as though the damage isn't there, it's there. It's just we technically wouldn't be at this point. Whoops. I was gonna go for the silence there for some damage. I'm gonna move over here just so whenever she decides to attack again, which should be pretty soon. I guess she's not gonna attack, but you can move around that and, you know, use Beatrice's right here. There you go. Thank you. And you can just silence her and then she won't be able to use her skills. Here we're gonna heal up. No real reason not to. We're gonna smack her around a bit. We're gonna get our passive, our dodge chance fully stacked. And we're essentially just gonna wait for her to start spamming out her arrows right there, and we just silence her just to get rid of that. And that's why I would recommend that people keep Beatrice on your team. Simply for stuff like that. And then a combo of Annie and Aluka at this stage, you get quite a bit of DPS. So it's quite nice. We heal up here. Swap out. She's eventually gonna use her, there we go. Now we're gonna swap to Beatrice. She'll eventually, yep. Even with the max dodge chance, there's still a chance that we don't dodge. Very small chance. It's not a massive chance, but it is something to make note of. You really shouldn't run into issues so long as you manage your abilities well. Now, this is why I would recommend for people to use Monica, simply because you don't run into these issues like that when you have her shield, and you can just block that damage out. But again, it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. And here you see we can finally go. We're level 10 now, and we can do these dailies now. Here we can get gold. It's not much, but it will become a lot more later on. So don't worry too much about that. Here we'll just jump in with this team. This is more than enough. We could do with leveling up, actually. As a matter of fact, just to make this go by quicker, we're gonna level up. You can go through without leveling up too much, but if you can, which you should have more than enough to do so, you should. And that's what we're gonna do here. Do that. As you can see, the soda is the one where you're gonna run into the most trouble. Here we're just gonna yeah. So soda is like the main issue, really. So make sure you're careful about who you invest in. So you see here, I'm only gonna upgrade my main 2 sources of damage. Reason for that is because materials are pretty finite until you know, get more into the game. The deeper you get into the game, the better options you'll have. And here we have enough to do another multi-summon. So let's go ahead and do that. See if we can't pull Beth. Let's see what happens. Hopefully we can get something good. Okay, we got 2 SRs. And as you see there, we get Thunder Pulse again, which is nice. Got some materials there. We got Claudia again. Barbarossa again. More materials. Okay. And we got Liliana. Okay. Interesting. More Claudia. And hopefully we get a really good SR here. Hopefully we can get something like Katomi. Monica would be amazing here. Okay, we got double Liliana. Which actually isn't terrible. It's not the worst thing. So, as you saw, we got Liliana. Now, she's one of the units that can do true damage, which makes her quite good. Makes her really good, actually. Makes her really, really good. And her active skill is AoE. So we have a replacement for Beatrice if we so choose. We have a lot of soda, but remember, resources are finite for the most part, so you want to exercise caution when you are doing so. So let's go ahead and take a look at her other weapon as well. When there's only one enemy in the zone, the normal attacks of this will do an additional pure damage, and depending on how many enemies there are, the damage will be reduced by 20 for every additional enemy, but your damage will not fall below 40% of the full damage. So it's alright. It's alright for a single target. It's not really good in mobs, so most people would go for the AMG 79. And we're going to go ahead and test it out. So let's go ahead and swap from this here. Let's go ahead and it might actually not be too bad. Well, for now, let's just go ahead and do this. Yep, that's the correct one. Let's go ahead and continue. Go ahead and get this passive all the way stacked, and let's switch. A lot of damage. A lot of damage. She does quite a bit of damage, as you can see. Swap back out. So she's great for elites. As you can see here, we're doing a lot of damage. We're just gonna dispatch her. Yeah, Liliana is quite nice. See this unit right here? We're still doing quite a bit. Just to stun them, so they're not... Yep. So that's what that's good for. If you see a unit like that, CC will get rid of them. We're just gonna go ahead and get to full because this is done. So you see, depending on your pools, you can hold on to the unlimited reroll for as long as you need to, just to see if you get lucky in your pools. And these two here are locked at level 20, so don't worry about them. It's quite nice. There, we get rewards for clearing it. And through the tutorial, make sure you're doing the tutorial. try to do as many of these as you can. And here we'll go into the dust shop now. This here is incredibly important. Some of these materials you're going to need earlier on than others. And then if you're not sure what materials you should grab, here's what you're going to do. So you'll go to whichever unit, whatever unit you will decide to invest in. As you can see on the Saphira menu, it'll show your the materials that you'll need. So if you click this little piece right there, you can then see what materials you'll need, and you can look at them, click recipe, and you'll see, oh, I need amnesiac bookmarks. And as you saw in the shop, there were amnesiac bookmarks, there were clawbone rings. This is another thing that we'll need later on. So from there, you can make your decision, and since it's a daily, you can efficiently pick the correct one. So here I'm going to pick up some. And as you can see here, some have duplicates, and depending on which ones are available, you can see here. I'm going to grab the amnesiac book shards with the red powder, and the reason I'm doing that instead of grabbing it with the blue powder is, as you see the claw bone ring shards, I can grab those using either the blue or the green powder. So there's not really anything here that I would want to purchase with the green powder, so I'll do that there. And we will go ahead and purchase some more of these. We'll actually grab 2 more. Grab some Nico shards as well. The reason for that is that's one of the earlier ones that you'll need to grab. So your first day, let's see, try to complete as much of this as you can in a day. The reason I say this is because if you complete enough after a while, there we go. So now we have Kiryu, which is huge. This is a huge boost in power. A huge boost in power. So she'll increase your magic team's damage, and you can just throw on her team in general, and she'll be great because she has AoE, and it does some really good damage. So let's see here. She needs to reach rank 2, it says. So let's go ahead and complete that. Let's find her. It's Holly. Let's go ahead and level her up. There we go. A rank 2. Right. Okay, so when it's talking about ranks, right, it doesn't mean level. It's talking about the Saphira here. So let's just blitz one time. We have enough. Let's augment her. You can see right there, we are rank 2. So what that means now is that this is available to be collected. Enhanced Shadow Gohei, which is her weapon. Excuse me. It's our weapon right here, Shadow Gohei. Go high. We'll just level it up to 10. Why not? There we go. And here, within the first day, you see we've completed every single one of these, which you should be able to do within the first day. And if you don't complete within the first day, don't worry about it. It's not a huge deal. I would say that you should try to complete as many of those as you can within the day. You'll have more than enough time. That's a really good pull. We got some enhancements there. See, as you can see, This is you have about 20 days to complete this, and you should. That's more than enough time. That's more than enough time for you to be able to complete this. So I would not worry too much about that. Complete as much as you can when you can, and do your best. And the event here, we just need a bit more. Just a bit more. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna swap here. Now Annie has really good. I do mean really good AoE. So let's try this out. We'll do it this way. You want to make sure that you level up your units. I'm just gonna go in here because it won't be difficult. Just gonna get rid of all of these. More AoE. We could use Annie if we want it. So here I'm gonna swap. Single target. Does really good damage. We can interrupt that by killing her. Just get rid of these guys. Swap back to go high. And here we're just gonna and there we go. A lot of damage, a lot of early damage. Too much damage for any enemy at this stage to deal with, which is great because it means that you can get through this quicker. We're just gonna continue through. We can definitely level up Rafi here, but it's not really a need to. Liliana does some really good damage, and I do mean really good damage. Now she does get out DPS by Kiryu here. Now Liliana, you mainly want to use her on enemies like Gwyneth. You'll see Gwyneth pop up as an enemy from time to time who has a lot, and I do mean a lot, of armor. There's also a nurse that has, see here, Liliana just demolishes, and I do mean demolishes, targets like Gwyneth. Any target that you see with high defenses, just use Liliana. She'll completely dismantle them. She's really good. She is really, really good for that. So it's kind of amazing that we were able to pull her. Here, let's level up a bit more. Now, early stages, right? What you're gonna be wanting to do is establish someone that you can invest in. So I've established that Liliana is really good, so I'm going to invest in her. Annie is also really good as a secondary DPS option at this stage. Until, of course, you know, we pull Beth, and then she's going to immediately get replaced. But she's still a fantastic unit. I'd recommend to invest in her. Kiryu, same thing. Now let's find her. Raphilia. As you can see, our resources are starting to not be quite as plentiful. And that'll happen. So again, you want to exercise caution and only level up when it's necessary. It wasn't necessary for me to do so. I didn't have to. I was still doing phenomenal damage. Like you see, I handily dealt with the current content, and now it's just amplified. See, we can like do so much damage. We do insane amounts of damage. Nothing can stand up to us at this stage. Here, like both of these weapons will just dismantle whatever comes in our way. Even Annie at this stage is, you know, quite nice. She just adds more DPS to the team. And that's pretty much it. By the time they even get a chance to use their abilities, they're already gone. And we finish with 80% HP. Quite nice. Same type of deal here. So again, make sure you're doing as much as you can to gain access to this really powerful weapon. They give you so much. They really do give you a lot. You just want to keep attacking her. Don't worry about the fact that she's doing that there. It doesn't really matter. Here we're going to hold on to our AoE because we don't need to use it. And we'll just dismantle her. We can move away. And that's why I keep Annie. She's just a really, really good source of damage. Now, if I'm able to pull Beth, which I will be, at some point, I will be able to pull Beth. I'm going to swap out Kiryu for Beth. Reason being is Liliana excels with more physical units, so does Annie, and Rafi is just the healer. So she also adds damage to the team in the sense of decreasing defense. So she's quite nice, actually. But again, make sure you're looking at the opponents that you're facing. Like Gwen here, doesn't matter. We just bully her. She can't do anything. And Rafi just falls over. Certain stages will have certain requirements. She only fell over because we hit the damage requirements. So there's that. Here we go. As you can see here, Monica is one of those units where you see her, you're going to want to use Liliana's weapon, something like True Damage, or Vera. Vera is a free pure damage option. So if you don't have Liliana, again, as you saw, I was using Vera for units like that. She just does really good damage in general. I would say that Liliana is essentially a upgrade. It's just I would say the one advantage that Vera has over Liliana is the fact that you can essentially aim where it is that. Okay, good. Originally I was going to AoE if I needed to, but there was no need. And here we can just pop Annie's They're both gonna disappear. So much damage. Here we didn't meet the requirements. We weren't able to heal in time. Unfortunately, we just did too much damage. So let's run this back. Let's go ahead and run this back. You should really have no trouble whatsoever in dealing with these modes, especially once you gain access to Kiryu. Now, I did say that you should invest into Beatrice, and you should, because she is quite good. Once she gets her passive, she becomes even better, and you'll actually start to see her do some serious damage. Here we can just use Kiryu for the damage there. Here we're gonna wait. And we dispatch them because we're at full health. There we go. Much cleaner. Raphaelia will give you more healing once her passive is unlocked. Passives are passives can very much so increase the DPS or the utility of the unit depending on what their function is, and it usually will always couple with their active skill or their weapons or both generally. Now the DPS that Annie does not exceed, even with the multiple ticks, it doesn't exceed Kiryu's DPS. So oddly enough, it might not even exceed Liliana's, which is weird to say. Weird to say, but truthful. Here we just heal up. Anything that we face at this point, at this stage, will not be able to damage us enough to where it'll matter. Just stun them. Huge AoE. And that is it. There we go. Finished with 81%. 80.9. Something must have hit me. Here we go. Last one. Sea Wasp. No enemies here have a high amount of defense, so Liliana is not as necessary. Here we can just swap the Kiryu. Kiryu's just better overall DPS wise. We take less damage because we do more damage. Because we do more damage, we dispatch them quicker. Like even here, using Annie isn't really necessary. You saw we just took more damage than we needed to. We could have one-shot every single one of them, I'm pretty sure. Annie's utility comes from... We're gonna hold off on it for right now. We'll use it in a second. Okay. And just unload everything. We don't want to sit in her pool. Okay. Here we're gonna use Rafi's from here on out. Use a stun, use the AoE. Okay, not too bad. Here I'm just trying to stall as best I can to heal up. Just aim that. Here we go. Finish with 75 HP. We just had to move around a bit there. Now, Monica basically simplifies this. She basically makes it so it's trivialized, like the entire that entire run is trivialized completely by her because of the fact that she can reduce damage. So here, this is a pretty simple one. You will so you want to start out using Akira. You actually want to swap to Claudia as soon as you can. Swap out, just use Emily. You're gonna heal up enough. Your crits do massive damage. Here, swap back. Now this is where you're gonna use Monica's Lance to heal up all the damage that these little ones do, simply because we don't have a good source of I'm gonna stop time here. And we'll just ulti here. Oh, darn. And we'll just heal through it. She won't be able to do enough. Swap back to Emily. Get rid of her. Here I want to switch back to Akira. Switch to Monica's Lance to heal up. Switch to Claudia. Save those heals. We don't need them anymore. We're full. Swap back to Akira. Time freeze. Smack her up. And we can just dispatch her completely because of the fact that we have such massive crit. Here, we're going to heal up a bit before we swap back. And now we're going to smack her. And we'll finish her off before... Oh, guess not. Just heal up some of that. Here, we're going to do that. Stop time. Swap back. By the time that's back up, dead. And there you go. 88.5 health remaining. You can finish that with pretty much 100%. Just make sure you manage your abilities well, and you should have little to no issue in dealing with that. Here we're gonna come back. We're going to main achievements, collect our reward for clearing chapter 2 there, and collect our reward here as well. And then from here we can go ahead and, because we're close, collect that. We're quite close, not only to a level up, but also being able to do the event. So let's finish off these hard mode quests here. This, if you've watched this far, you can already tell like this is a much longer video. The reason for that is to show you how many multis that you can get within this time period, provided that you get something that's good enough to get you through most content in the game. I myself got pretty lucky in grabbing Liliana. She's quite nice. Just do that. Get out of the way. She has more DPS, so we'll just do it this way. There we go. Let's heal up. None for her. Stun everybody there. There we go. We just get rid of the kitty cats. And there you go. Pretty simple. So basically what you want in your team is to have utility slash healer in 1 or 2 spots, and 2 DPS who also have some sort of utility or a good form of DPS. Sort of the way Annie does. You see, I don't use her weapon much. My DPS is mainly Kiryu, and Liliana acts as a tank killer. So even beyond her having a niche use, she does good damage still. So yeah, swap over, doing 2500 consistently a hit. So it's good consistent damage. That's the consistency that you'll get from having a unit that does this. And you see Monica just gets, she gets absolutely decimated. She can't do anything. Here we're gonna pop Annie's ability. We're gonna speed this up a bit because we want the, oh, darn, okay, that's fine. Here we're just gonna wait. She'll do it eventually. There we go. Here I'm gonna try and get the heal off. I have more than enough health to survive her attacks. And then here we're just gonna get rid of her. There we go. We meet the health requirements, so we clear this. 68.7. I was a bit greedy and holding on to my stun. The weapon broke, which is why I wasn't able to kill off the archer. And she got some decent damage in. And then I also missed my opportunity to stun the Monica. So she was able to get more damage off. Here, we're going to swap. Let's go ahead and smack Gwen. It's really good. It's slow, but it does really good damage. And we just need to do enough damage, so this one is cleared as well. And last one. Last one here. We're at level 15 now. We've unlocked guild feature, and it's going to automatically take us back to the main screen. It wants us to join a guild. Now, you don't have to do this. Nothing about this you have to do. So we'll just apply, because why not? And as you can see here, we've now gotten access to special ops, which is nice, but we are going to go ahead and finish this last one before we go head over there. I want to show off the event before we close this video out, which is why we haven't ended it sooner. I also want to get one more multi in, one or two more. Okay, swap back. Ashley wants to attack her. She's going to do more damage. Don't be afraid to use that AoE. You're generally going to be using it to kill trash mobs. Let's just pop this. We want to get them out of here as soon as possible. Heal up. Oh, we missed a stun. That's not good. We didn't aim it correctly, so you know, getting punished for it. So here you're gonna see me stall out a bit with Raphelia's weapon. Now the reason for this is because it's not use Annie's, it's actually use hers. Now we basically stalled enough so we can head on to the next portion of this. We're just gonna stun her, hit her with the everything in the kitchen sink. Now here we're gonna have to stall so we can heal up. But we'll have enough time because she's going to heal herself, which is fine. We don't really care about that. We were just under. That's a shame. That's a shame. We were just under. She hit us at the last second. But that's fine. There's actually no achievements for getting all these checks on here. There's actually nothing that says that you need to do that. It's just for, you know, for the sake of doing it. See, as you can see here, we just get that anyway. We are one short. We're actually one short. What's something that we could do? Reach level 25. Join a guild. Ugh. Alright. So, just go ahead and I don't remember how the guilds work. I don't think you can just automatically. Level's too low to create one. Rip. Trying to think. Do you get turrets from here? I'm not sure if you do. You do get turrets from out of here though. And you see that one right there. You just need a measly 1600. Oops. There we collect. Here we get materials, and let's just go into the first floor, which is void. You don't need any seals for this. This should be more than enough. This isn't too difficult in the beginning. It's pretty easy, honestly. You should have one-shot most things at this level. Yep, everything gets one-shotted, but you do need the... Be careful, all the bombs. Just wait. Just run away. See if we can stall out. So the main purpose of this, we're gonna wait and see if she heals. Nice. We're gonna wait again. So the main purpose of this is to have as high HP remaining as possible and to clear this as quickly as you can. Okay, we got it. There we go. And that should virtually be full HP. I think it was like 99.8 or something that I saw. Oh, 100. Nice. Awesome. As you can see here, there's orchids that you get. I've explained this in a previous video. But based on your seals, you gain more. So... do as much as you can, whenever you can, however you can. And you can pretty much continue now. Heaven, the way this one works, Void drops bombs. It does, you saw about 20% of your health. Heaven, you essentially need to kill off all the enemies before... so there's a 12-second window in which you can attack them, and after that 12 seconds, after the 12 seconds, they will start reflecting damage for 4 seconds. We see here in the early stages, we just get rid of them before they can even do anything. So it's not a big deal. And we're gonna continue to gather as many of these as we can, simply so we can get that one turret card. Hell is your health depleting every second by 2.5% of your maximum health. So this is yet another one where time is of the essence and you want to clear as soon as possible. As you can see, they do damage. They do damage. You definitely want to get rid of her as soon as you can. Hopefully we can get our ulti off. We healed up a bit. I say 65.9% or something like that. Oh, 78.5. We actually got one more tick off, which is really good. Which is a bit shy of what we need. Let's see if we don't get more orchids through here. Nope, we get more gems though. Okay, we're back to void again. So make sure you're checking to see what type of damage does the best and try to bring that, but don't worry about it too much. Just try to bring a team that you can actually complete it with. That's the main thing that you want here. You see, I almost forgot, like, oh yeah, this is void. Just kind of go through the motions, and sometimes I just forget. It's like, oh yeah, it's void. Simply because void is like one of the easier ones. We just want to keep attacking her. Like, we don't actually want to stop. We do that. We activate this. Do that. And there we go. Orchid gain is not that high early on. Not that high at all. Especially with one seal, you're not gonna see too much. And we're back to hell, which means heaven will be number 6. Here, let's see. Nice. We were able to get rid of her before she did anything. Here we go. There we go. That's close. Ah, we died. Unfortunate. They got their attacks off before. They got their attacks off before I was able to get that that other ulti. So we died. Also, the game crashed. So that happens with this. For whatever reason, that happens with this event specifically. Like, I don't know if it's like the losing portion or what, but there's really no need for me to have to use any seals this early. I am a pretty low level, but she shouldn't be able to attack. Let's just smack her. Yep. Almost died. She does so much damage, man. There we go. All done. Sucks because if we take too long, then that happens. She got that attack off. Darn. There we go. We just want to run away. Ah. Darn. Okay. So let's do this one. Actually, no. We're gonna finish this. Anzu would actually be quite nice in this. Whatever. We just have to power through without getting hit by her, but that doesn't happen. I think we just die. Yeah. This will happen. It's nothing, nothing I'm not unfamiliar with. I would very much like it if I could get through that without getting hit by her. Holy crap. Oh no. I didn't have the weapon swapped. Darn. Well, that was actually the run. That was the run. Okay, we have a lot more health than originally. That's a great start. I'm just gonna pop that. Oh goodness, we need to heal. I think I stunned him in time. Nice. GG. Hey, there we go. GG. So here you see, like, even at this level, I'm able to perform quite well. Quite nicely. Rankings, I would not imagine that I'm high at all on the rankings. But let's see. Wow. It's actually not that bad. To have just started, that's kind of crazy that I'm up that far. And here's the Thalassophobia. You don't need to download this. It'll just ask you to. But you don't need to. So here we got enough for that, and we actually almost have enough for the gems here. But let's go ahead and hop into another summon. See if we will pull Beth. Like, we're gonna pull her eventually. She's just begging to be pulled. And here we go. Nope, nothing. Sileno. More Luca. More materials. More Barbarossa. Unfortunate. More materials. Nice. Got the other portion of Holly's weapon. We got Scold. More Ophelia materials, which is nice. More materials and nothing there. We are pretty unlucky with our pools. Not gonna lie, we are pretty unlucky. Let's see here. Can we progress to chapter 3? Yes, we can. Nice. Okay. Let's see here. We almost have enough, and I do mean almost, to go ahead and grab that right there. But the main thing that you're going to want to grab is the seals here. The seals will allow you to get more, so you're able to get more tarot cards and all that good stuff. In here, want to pop that. Got Void. The rest of these are pretty easy. Void will be difficult early on if you can't do enough damage. The other ones are not bad until later on. Hell's pretty consistent in how painful it is, depending on... It's really just dependent on your... We want to get rid of her as soon as we can. Oh, okay. Yep, this is where Liliana shines. We wanted to get rid of her as soon as possible. We actually did not want to mess around with her. Wait for her. Here we go. Heal up. Okay. There we go. Well done. Not quite. We need to do one more, which should be heaven. Yep. Pop 2 of these. Let's go ahead and jump in. We're gonna pull Beth the next multi, so all is well. That basically just dismantles any and every tank. Careful. See there with the... And we're just gonna pop this. We're gonna get rid of her. Uh-oh. We didn't kill her in time. That one you have to be mindful of. She will basically one-shot you. Just heal up here. Pop this. Oh no. Darn. I think I need to hit her with Liliana a bit before I start this just easily dispatches them. Not her so much, which is not good. Uh-oh. Luckily Annie can deal damage. Oh boy, I managed to hit him right as that popped up. No bueno. Ah, the reflect came up. Unfortunate. We can do this though, so. Just get rid of her. They do a lot of damage. By the way. Just want to pop everything. Oops. Oh no. Whoops. Yeah, having can be difficult if you're not paying attention. Just wait it out. Go ahead and attack. This sucks. I was one attack away from healing. One attack away from healing. But as you can see, you gotta hold Liliana to be able to deal with that. Now you can start using seals whenever it gets difficult like this. It'll make it a lot easier for you. So here we pretty much finish with quite a bit of health left, which is great. Oh wow, the reflect popped up right as I decided to attack. That's unfortunate. That was quite a good run too. Just wait for that to finish. Oh wow, I missed. Okay, well, this one's over. GG. I missed that. Rip. Thought I placed it in a way where... I guess not. What the... Ah, missed again. Great. Well, this one is done. Messed it up again. Rip. well, not really that big a deal. That pretty much covers everything. That's just about everything. I would have liked to pull Beth in the video, but you know, not always that lucky. Pretty lucky, but not lucky just yet. Not enough luck. With that being said, guys, that's gonna conclude going through the game as a new player. Hopefully this gave you guys a bit more insight than the previous videos, and you know, how to maneuver through the game and what to do. If you have any questions, however, feel free to message me in the comment section, or get a hold of me at Witch's Weapon official Discord at Spartan D, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with any team builds or whatever it is that might be causing you trouble. Well, with that being said, I love you all much, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.